Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan and today I've got for you a team selection video for Game Week 30 in which we're also going to be talking about my Game Week 29 scores. It's been quite a while since Game Week 29, so we're going to have to cast our eyes back a little bit, but let's see how we got on in the blank game week. Let me tell you, we did okay, but we'll talk about that in a second. And of course, we're going to do my transfers, and we're going to talk about who I'm going to captain this game week as well. So, loads to talk about. It's going to be a good video, as it always is. If you do enjoy it, if you do appreciate what's going on here, please do make sure you give a like on the video. It's really, really appreciated, really helps out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you're new around here. But before we have a look at my scores from Game Week 29, a quick word from our sponsors. And our sponsors for this video series is, of course, OneFootball. Now, OneFootball is a great app / website for all things football. OneFootball for me is kind of the #1 place to go for if you're looking for scores from any football game, any league across the world, international fixtures as well. It's great for checking out the lineups, the scores. Some of the stats as well can be really, really useful. You can see who's on top of what game, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't have time to watch every single game of football in the world. So sometimes I have to skip over games, not even watch the highlights, and I can just check out what's going on my phone. And why not go for OneFootball? Just because it's purpose built for that. So really do recommend it. Completely free. Check out the link at the top of my description. Right, well, here it is. Here is my Game Week 29 scores. Like I said, it was a long time ago, but it went okay, guys. It went okay. In fact, it went very well. And I guess that's testament to planning. When you do a real decent amount of planning for a particular game week, you kind of hope that things will go your way, and in general they did. I went for the boring captain in Kane, which maybe I could have gone something a bit more interesting, but to be honest, if I wasn't going to captain Kane, I was fancying kind of Lewis Dunk, so that would not have gained me any points anyway. We have a couple of points, sticking with Bamford. I know a lot of people sold Bamford because they thought, oh, he's injured, he's not going to play. He got 11 points, so that was wicked. I brought in, Lingard, so that was really, really effective transfer. I brought in Dallas as well. Not such an effective transfer, but I did have that him with 2 game weeks in mind, so that's okay. That's not too bad. And in general, we just got a decent amount of points. 62 points minus 4. Obviously, Son didn't play. That was a little bit of a shame, but overall, I think we probably had above average amount of players actually playing in this game week. And we managed to go up sort of 43,000 places, which is a really decent amount of places to be going up at this stage of the season. That's a significant boost. It really is. And it kind of got me thinking, oh my God, this is the best place I've been in all season. I've never been at a rank this high this season, which is sort of half tragic because I would have hit this high a lot earlier. But also, it was kind of like, I was stuck at around 600, 700,000 for so long. And it's only over the last couple of months that I've been absolutely smashing it, doing really well every single game week, smashing my decisions, smashing my captains, not getting too many injuries, which is a real boost. And I don't know, it's kind of made me a little bit positive about next season. I know I'm not going to have an amazing finish this season, but it makes me think, okay, next season, if I can actually get a decent start to the season, which I really think I can, there's going to be some heights next season. I'm sure about that. I just got to get a better start to the season. But look, over the last few game weeks, last maybe 8 game weeks, if you guys have been following along with my transfers and things like that, you would have been smashing it too, because it has been going consistently really well. We're just going to be going up and up and up and up and up. And let's see how much further we can go. I definitely think we're top 1% is still very much on the cards, sort of 80,000th in the world. That's kind of what I'm hoping for as a bare minimum. And then, anything after that is a bonus. Maybe we can shoot for 50k, but yeah, top 1% is the main goal, isn't it, really, in any given season. And then after that, you start going for the real big prizes. But there we have it. So guys, let's put some players on the pitch. But before I do that, let me tell you guys that this team is going to be my final team before the wildcard. So the team that you see before your very eyes today is not a long-term team at all. It's the team that I need for Game Week 30 only. Any transfer I make is for Game Week 30 only. And from Game Week 31, we're going to wildcard. We're going to start again. We're going to start afresh, So don't think about this team as a long-term team. This is a 1 week only team. We can take a bit of a punt, maybe have a little bit of fun. So Let's see where we're going there. So let's start off and go with Martinez against Fulham. Really good fixture. Aston Villa have been actually kind of okay defensively. It's their attack that I'm really worried about, which is why, you know, I'm kind of fearing at those Aston Villa attacking assets a little bit. But defensively, they've been doing okay. And when you come up against a team like Fulham, particularly when you're at home as well, that's a pretty nice fixture because Fulham, for all of their defensive impressiveness that they've kind of had over the last month or so, they've not really found their way of scoring goals, have they? Not at all. So that's going to be a real nice chance of a clean sheet. And we know what Martinez is like. He can easily get 9-pointers, 10-pointers all over the place just by getting a couple of saves, a couple of bonus points, and his clean sheet. It's absolutely lovely. So let's move on to the defence with Luca Dean. I have been disappointed by Everton's defence. Everton's defence is certainly not something I want to be on long term. But this game against Crystal Palace at home, you know, I've got to be tempted by it. Plus, we know with Luca Dean, every time that Sigurdsson is not on the pitch, we know that Digne is going to be taking those set pieces as well, corners, free kicks and the like, which is really nice, gives him those extra opportunities to score. Interestingly, Crystal Palace do concede a lot of chances from crosses, so that kind of gives me the impression that a player who is good at crossing, like our guy Luca Dean, if he's taking those crosses and whipping them into, you know, whether it's Calvert-Lewin, maybe whether it's on, you know, the heads of players who are up for corners or free kicks, that kind of thing, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be giving some opportunities to get a few points. But I'm just hoping for that clean sheet because Everton have not been too good for clean sheets recently. Moving on to Cancelo against Leicester away. I actually think this fixture is okay. Leicester, aside from their game against Sheffield United, haven't been scoring a huge amount of goals recently. They have been consistently scoring, but I don't think this is necessarily a really difficult you know, attack to play against for a defender. And this is Manchester City as well, and pretty much any team that they play against, they've got a good chance of keeping a clean sheet. The question is Cancelo going to play? And my answer to that is maybe. Maybe. I can't tell you that I'm 100% convinced by this one because I'm not 100% convinced that Cancelo is going to play because Man City have sort of got this Champions League game 2-3 days later against Borussia Dortmund, and it's kind of like, who's going to be prioritised? Is it going to be a case of Pep Guardiola wants to put all their good Man City players all in together in one team because they haven't played together for a couple of weeks? Is it going to be a case of, okay, these Man City players have just played a load of games on international break, they're going to play in the Premier League, and then they're going to play a really important Champions League game, which will be the priority game a couple of days later? Someone might be sacrificed. I'm not 100% sure. There's different ways of looking at it, but that kind of gives me a lot of doubt in my head about all Manchester City assets, to be fair. Not just in this game week, but long term as well. I am a little bit concerned about them, but if Cancelo plays, then that's all good. And let me tell you guys now, our bench is pretty good, so we can cover it. So let's move on to Dallas. Like I said, I bought in Dallas last game week for the blank with a kind of eyes on this fixture as well. I thought over the two fixtures, maybe he can do something as a kind of a 2-week punt, I guess. So Sheffield United at home. Obviously, Sheffield United are the worst in terms of them scoring. So if Leeds, I know they don't concede a lot of goals, but if they are going to keep a clean sheet, I know they do concede a lot of goals. Sorry, typically speaking. If they are going to keep a clean sheet, it might be against someone like Sheffield United. You would hope that it would be against a team like Sheffield United. And, of course, with Dallas, there is that attacking threat as well, which is really, really nice. And of course, he gets loads of points. If he does manage to get a goal, loads and loads of points. So that's all good there. Hoping for something big, but let's see what happens. And then I'm going to finish off the defence with Ben White. Now, this is a placeholder, guys. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm just throwing in Ben White because he's going to be the player I transfer out this game week. So I don't know if that's a clue of who I might be bringing in. But Ben White, he's going to sit there as a placeholder and we're going to whip him out in a second. In the meantime, we're going to move on into midfield and we're going to start off with KDB. And he's kind of a big game player. I always think of De Bruyne as a big game player, so this is interesting. A game against Leicester away is kind of important because it's kind of like Man City only have to win a few more games to actually seal that Premier League title. And also, you know, I feel like if anyone's not going to be rotated, who is it? Well, maybe Edison doesn't get rotated, maybe Diaz doesn't get rotated, and after that, it's kind of KDB, isn't it? The next guy who you would expect to play in most games of football. And if we're talking about bringing all of the Man City players back together, having not played together in a couple of weeks, it's been quite a while since the Man City players played together, KDB kind of is the glue in that team, and in which case, he is going to play. So I am more confident about KDB playing. I don't think he comes back from an international break and then has a rest. I think he does play, even if he only plays sort of 60, 70 minutes, something like that. But yeah, I expect him to play, and I expect him to play well as well. So we'll move on to Heung-min Son, player that I'm not selling, guys. I'm not selling him. I know a lot of people have already sold him. I know a lot more of you will be thinking about selling him. For me, there's no question. He is not going anywhere. He's absolutely not going anywhere, and that's mainly because I don't really believe that he is that he's definitely going to be out for this game. I think there's a really good chance that he does play in this game against Newcastle. I think a few other people have come to a similar conclusion, to be fair. Injury experts and analysts kind of said, okay, yeah, Son, when he comes back, his minutes are going to have to be managed. But that doesn't mean he's not going to be available. All we need to do is make sure the injury doesn't reoccur. Now, Spurs are in a really difficult situation where they're 3 points outside the top 4. They don't really have any other competitions to compete in other than that Carabao Cup final. That's the only other game that they'll be playing this game that isn't a Premier League game. So they kind of got to focus a lot of their attention on the Premier League and try to secure that top 4 in this way. So that's going to mean playing the best players. And if you're saying the best player is Harry Kane, well, who's the second best player? Well, it's definitely Heung-min Son. So I do think that he is going to come back into the team as soon as he is available. And I do think there's a very, very good chance of him being available against Newcastle, which is a good fixture. So let's move on to Lingard. And I've got this fixture against Wolves as a green one. You probably didn't see that coming necessarily, but Wolves have actually been one of the worst defences on underlying stats in the Premier League. In fact, they've been the second worst defence per 90 or per game played over the last sort of 4 or 5 game weeks, so maybe 6 game weeks. You can even extend it that far, because they are just conceding so many chances. And fair enough, they have been managing to keep the scorelines fairly low, but that doesn't really negate the fact that they've been conceding a lot of chances. And when a team concedes a lot of chances, eventually the goals catch up to them. So I am expecting this to be an easy fixture for Lingard, to be fair, and Lingard has just been absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of you guys are bringing in Lingard right now, and I completely don't blame you. He's been on absolute fire, and he doesn't show any signs of slowing down. He's having an absolute renaissance, and I can't wait to see what he does next against Wolves, to be honest. And then we'll move on to Rafinha against Sheffield United at home, which I think this is the one. This is the one, guys. Rafinha against Sheffield United. That's got to be big, right? That's going to be insane. Sort of a massively in-form player playing in a super attacking Leeds team, creating so many chances at home against Sheffield United, who are a championship level team, really struggling in the Premier League. They don't have a manager. They seem to be getting worse every game week. This is going to be a cricket score, isn't it, really? Leeds are going to score a few goals. And, Rafinha is going to play a part in most of them. He really is. He is that crucial to the Leeds attack. Of course, he's on set pieces and stuff as well. He's just an absolute diamond. He's an absolute diamond. I love him so much. I really do. We do love him over on the FPL Mate channel, don't we? So really looking forward to seeing what he can produce. And yeah, definitely a player I'd want for this game week, that's for sure. And then moving on up front to Kane against Newcastle. I think that's nice and easy. Nice and easy. We like that one a lot, don't we? Newcastle, a pretty weak defence, really, aren't they? Kane, I don't know if you'd say Kane is on form, but he's a very, very consistent goal scorer, and yeah, he's having a fantastic season. So I do think he is definitely good for a goal here. Hopefully he can get a few more bonus points than he did last time around as well. And then we're going to finish you off with Bamford against Sheffield United at home. Again, really nice fixture in terms of, Leicester beating Sheffield United 5-0 last time in the Premier League. You're kind of thinking, all right, Leicester beat them 5-0 whilst they're lacking Barnes, whilst they're lacking Maddison. What are Leeds going to do, Leeds can score a few goals here as well. Is it going to be like 3 or 4-0? Maybe something like that. You would kind of hope that it is. And yeah, Bamford's definitely going to be involved in some goals as well, isn't he? So, assuming that he's fit, which I really think he's going to be. I don't know. A lot of people looking at these Doritos of death. There's 2 Doritos of death on my screen right now. Why aren't you scared, Dan? Why aren't you scared? Don't worry, guys. These Doritos, just pick them up, dip them in some salsa, and eat them, and pretend they're gone forever. Because I really do think both Bamford and Son are going to be fit to play this game week. Obviously, I can't tell you that 100%, but I have a good feeling about both of them, so we're going to be sticking with them and not even doubting ourselves. So quickly on the bench, we've got Pope, Watkins, Gundogan, and Donk. So like I say, a fairly strong bench. Fairly strong bench this game week, so that does kind of make me feel okay. Well, Cancelo, it doesn't matter if Cancelo, maybe doesn't play this game because I've got a good bench to cover it. If one of Son or Bamford doesn't play, we have got the bench to cover it. If KDB doesn't play, etc., etc. they're not all not going to play, are they? But, you know, if one or two doesn't play, we've got Watkins, which is not not horrendous game against Fulham, I suppose. I'm not backing him particularly, but it's not horrendous. We've got Gundogan, who mostly I'm leaving on the bench because I think he's a real rotation risk, and I don't really want to get a one-pointer from him. I don't think he's that much better than any of the other options I've got on my field anyway. And Lewis Dunk, even against Manchester United, I kind of do feel like Brighton do have a chance of keeping a clean sheet against United. There's a chance of it, surely. So even Dunk, I wouldn't be too upset if he had to come on as well. But anyway, guys, you can see this team, and hopefully you can see now why I'm not thinking about wildcarding until Game Week 31. Because a lot of people would say, well, just wildcard over the international break. Gives you loads of time to think about it. You can swap and change as much as you like. It's a natural point to stop and change your team up. It is a natural point in the season to change your team up. Absolutely, the wildcard in Game Week 30. But look at this team, guys. Look at the fixtures that each player has. This is pretty much already the ideal team for Game Week 30, isn't it? It's kind of got all of the players that you expect to score the highest scores in Game Week 30. Who's going to score the highest points in Game Week 30? You will say Bamford, Rafinha, you say Kane maybe, you say Son if he's fit, you say Lingard, you say potentially KDB, you potentially say Dallas in defence, you probably go for some Everton players, and I've got Dina there, you've got Martinez, kind of the best goalkeeper this season, and he's playing against Fulham. You know, there's so much to like about this team that kind of makes me think there's no way I can possibly wildcard now when this team already looks so good for this game week. So there's only one thing for it, guys, and that's to make our one transfer. We're not going to take minuses or anything like that. There really is no need. We're going to wildcard next week, game week anyway, so we can take a nice 1 week punt on a defender. I think you guys might have a feeling that I might be going for a Chelsea defender already, as I have kind of hyped up the Chelsea defence quite a lot in recent videos, and I do think it is the right move. Chelsea do have that fixture against West Brom. Chelsea have only conceded 1 goal in 10 games in all competitions, so clean sheet is all but kind of guaranteed. They're getting clean sheets every game week. It's absolutely crazy. They've got some good fixtures, but this is a 1 week punt. And guys, the reason I'm going for this player, you're going to see in a minute. It's kind of exciting. It is kind of exciting to me anyway. And the reason I'm going for this player is because it is a 1 week punt, because I have a strong bench that can cover it if it goes tragically wrong. But I'm going to try and explain my my rationale to you anyway. And I do want to go on record to say I don't think this is a long-term pick. If you're not wildcarding very, very soon, I'm not sure I would go for this pick. But I am. I told you guys that I'm going to be all about the risks for the rest of the season. We're going to be going a bit crazy. We're going to go a bit out there. That's not going to stop today. No way, guys. That's not going to stop. So let's throw it up on screen. This is the transfer. Ben White out. Marcus Alonso in. Now, that is looking pretty spicy. Slap him in the squad. Have a look at that. Another nice green fixture. And I don't know. I quite like it as a real differential. And let me tell you why I like Alonso. So first of all, Alonso has just a wonderful attacking record going back years. But his underlying stats for his attacking output, you know, shots taken, crosses made, you know, passes, key passes, big chances created, all look really, really fantastic when he does play. You know, when he does play, and he kind of is playing in, I don't know, maybe 60% of games for Chelsea since Tuchel came over, maybe 70% of games. Since he has come in, when he does play, He outshines anyone on the pitch. He really does. And he always looks like he's going to have the best chance of scoring the most amount of points as long as he plays. So it's all about, is he going to play? Now, I've been trying to kind of work out what are the situations where Alonso does play versus what are the situations where he doesn't play. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that Alonso plays in games where Chelsea are not too worried about the opposition's attack. So, for example, Alonso didn't play against, in the Premier League, the only games he's missed are games against Liverpool, Manchester United, so these are kind of big games where you might want to sit back and be a little bit more defensive. You might want those, you know, more defensively experienced players in, rather than Alonso, who is known as a bit of a defensive liability, despite all of his attacking. You know, we all know that Alonso was born to be a striker, but for some reason he's been playing left-back his whole career. Anyway, the other game that he didn't play against in the Premier League was against Leeds, who, you know, they have this reputation of attacking ferocity as well. Whereas all of the other games, you know, against some of the weaker teams, some of the less attacking teams, you know, for example, Atletico Madrid, he played both games against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League because they're not a team that is particularly, you know, attacking. They're more known as a defensively solid team rather than a free-flowing, attacking, you know, all men up the pitch kind of team. So I think that's the kind of thinking, and if that's the case, then that means Alonso is more than likely going to play against West Brom because he has been playing well. His attacking output is fantastic. If you're not too worried about the attack of the other team, and you know, let's be fair, West Brom are not really going to challenge Chelsea in terms of scoring too many goals. I think Chelsea and Tuchel can afford to play Alonso. It's a risk. It's a risk that Alonso might not play. But if it pays off, this is the thing. If it pays off and he does start, if we get to sort of, was it 12:30 tomorrow on Saturday or 11:30 when the team sheets come out, and we see that Alonso's playing, it's gonna be like, oh man, this could easily be 10 points or more, easily. So yeah, that's a very long explanation of why I'm bringing in Marcos Alonso. I kind of wanted to justify it a little bit because I know a lot of you guys will be saying, man, Dan, you're crazy. You've got absolutely mental. But it's fine, guys. We've got to take a few risks. And it's a one-week punt, wildcard in next game week. Anyway, I can easily escape from this if it is a terrible, terrible mistake. Even if it is a terrible mistake, Watkins is just going to come off the bench. Gundogan's going to come off the bench. Dunk is going to come off the bench in an absolute disaster. But that wouldn't really be much of a disaster because I have so much depth on that bench. But there you go, guys. That's basically what I'm doing. Very quickly on captaincy, I'm going to be captaining Rafinha. I just feel like he has by far the best fixture. Out of those Leeds players, I think he is the best player. I think he's the best player at Leeds. He gets more points for goals. He gets an extra point if Leeds get a clean sheet. And I just think it's sort of key to so much in those Leeds attacks. And Sheffield United, I just think are kind of doomed a little bit at the moment. So that's going to be a cricket score, hopefully. Other considerations are kind of like Kane. So I'll stick the vice captain on Kane because obviously Kane, well established striker in the Premier League, you know, having a good season in general. I don't know if you'd say he's on form or not, but he's certainly performing as expected right now. And Newcastle away is obviously a very nice game as well. So there you go, guys. That is how we're lining up. You can tell me what you think to all of that. Have I lost the plot with Alonso? Is there someone else you'd be going for instead? I think long term, guys, I would definitely be going for Azpilicueta or someone like that. Maybe Christensen. He's been playing really well as well. I don't expect him to drop out the team too often. So there you have it. There we are, guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. And if you really enjoyed the video and you haven't done already, please do consider subscribing as well. I really appreciate that. And check out OneFootball if you like. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, join my mini league, support the channel, whatever. All links are in the description. And do leave me a comment telling me what you are up to at this game week as well. Be interested to see who you guys are thinking about captaining because I'm sure there'll be a few different options this game week. You know, we've got those Spurs boys, we've got Leeds boys. Maybe you're going for a Man City player, KDB, for example. Maybe a Chelsea player as well you could be captaining. So loads to talk about. I'll have a chat with you guys in the comment. But yeah, aside from that, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you on the next one. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.